The early to mid-2000s saw a mini-explosion of British horror films. Some that come to mind are Death Watch, The Outpost, Severance, Creep, Dog Soldiers, 28 Days Later, and arguably the best of the bunch, The Descent. Some of these went on to have a long legacy in Hollywood, such as the 28 Later series, while others faded into relative obscurity. One that falls into the latter category is the 2001 film The Bunker. The setting is 1944 and the German army is in full retreat. A group of Wehrmacht soldiers, fleeing from the advancing Americans, stumble across the titular bunker, manned only by a young man and an elderly soldier. Beneath the bunker lies a network of tunnels containing an unknown threat, one that gradually begins to take a psychological toll on the defenders. This film has always fascinated me ever since I first saw it on terrestrial television during its initial syndication. A small independent production with a unique premise and setting, it features a cast of notable British actors speaking in their natural accents. Films that do this often create an unexpected sense of solidarity for characters you might not otherwise sympathise with. The threat itself, however, is a little too ambiguous, and the ending far too open to interpretation to provide a satisfying conclusion. There are three major issues with a horror war film told from the German perspective. Firstly, eliciting sympathy for soldiers, whether politicised or not, who fought for one of the most horrific regimes in history is no easy task. Secondly, war itself is so often more terrifying than any supernatural force or entity. For evidence of this, look no further than the extraordinary Soviet film Come and See. Thirdly, and unfortunately this is a problem with most horror films, there is the question of the threat itself. The bunker offers several possible explanations for why the tunnel may be haunted. Either the area is cursed, perhaps linked to burial pits from the Black Death, or the soldiers being punished for committing war crimes. The war crime in question, while horrific, feels relatively tame by Nazi standards. In reality, veterans involved in such acts would likely be far less outwardly remorseful. On the other hand, ghost stories often suffer from ill-defined rules, allowing for an anything-goes approach. If the threat had been more physical, it would have provided a more grounded danger. Conversely, the story would then risk becoming less psychological horror and more standard slasher fare. German war crimes are impossible to belittle and difficult to quantify, so perhaps a better source of tension would have been to merely allude to some form of threat in the tunnels, the only other exit from the bunker. This would create a divide among the men, those willing to stay and fight the oncoming Americans and those prepared to face the unknown risks below. Had the writing been tighter and removed the unsatisfactory reveal altogether, The Bunker might well have become a cult classic.